My name is Kim So-yeon. I'm 26 years old, and just a year ago, I was an ordinary girl following a fairly predictable life path, studying at a prestigious university, planning a career in a large corporation, dreaming of independence. But everything collapsed after my father died. Since then, predictability has vanished from every part of my life. My father, Kim So-yeon, was a successful businessman and the owner of a major construction company. He grew up in a poor family and achieved everything on his own, becoming a man respected even by his rivals. Since childhood, I knew he was smart, ambitious, and often emotionally distant. But at the same time, he was always a kind and caring father to me. When my mother died, I was too young to remember her well. My father surrounded me with so much affection and warmth that I never once felt alone. Exactly 1 year ago, I got a phone call in the middle of the night informing me that he had died, having accidentally fallen off a yacht into the waters of the Han River. I remember that call in vivid detail, the trembling voice of the duty officer, as if he himself didn't believe what he was saying, and my own scream, a mix of terror, denial, and overwhelming pain. That's when I realized my life would never be the same. The official version was an accident. But I knew my father too well. He wasn't the kind of person who would slip, lose balance, and silently sink into the water, leaving all his business unfinished. I had doubts from the very beginning. Even more so because the day before his death, he called me and said something strange: "If something happens, be careful. Trust no one." At the time, I dismissed it, thinking he was just anxious about another business deal. I was wrong. After his death, I left the country. Maybe it was an escape, a way to forget. I enrolled in school in the U.S., trying to slam the door on the past and focus on the future. But the past haunted me in dreams and in waking moments, and soon I realized I had to come back. I needed to prove to myself that everything that happened wasn't just paranoia and foolish fantasies. I had to find out why my father died. That's why I'm now standing on the platform of Ulsan Station in a light, drizzling rain. The gray sky reflects my mood. I wrap myself tighter in my coat, trying to shield from the wind, and look around. The station is nearly empty, just a couple of people rushing out under umbrellas, and I realize I don't know where to go next. I left my suitcase in the locker because I don't want to drag it to my father's office. Yes, officially it's no longer his. After his death, the company came under the control of the board of directors and a few trusted associates. But to me, that place will always be connected to him. The city greets me bleakly. Everything is as gray as the sky above. I pull up my hood, but I can't hide from the memories, which drip through my soul like raindrops. How did I once live here? How did I find joy in simple things? Now it feels like it all belonged to another life. My father and I once lived in a private house on the outskirts of the city, near the mountains. My old house is locked up and has probably stood empty for a year. I decide to go there first before heading to the office. I need to mentally prepare myself to meet the people who might know more than they say. I walk a few blocks past familiar shops, the bakery where my father and I used to buy hot buns in the morning, the flower stand where he sometimes bought me a bouquet, for no reason at all. The narrow street leading to the house is overgrown with weeds and looks abandoned. The silence is deafening. As I approach the gate, I take the keys from my pocket. I brought them just in case. When I insert the key into the lock, I realize the handle is already broken. A chill runs down my spine. The house was clearly broken into. But why? And by whom? I push open the door. Everything is covered in dust, the furniture draped with sheets, but it's obvious someone has been here. My heart pounds so hard I can barely breathe. I slowly look through the rooms. The floorboards creak beneath my feet, almost as if warning me, be careful. In the living room, scraps of paper and an empty bottle are scattered on the table. Whoever was here didn't care to clean up. I clench my fists in helplessness, my home, my memories, all desecrated by someone else's presence. I hear a rustling sound from the far end of the hallway. My heart freezes. Could someone still be here? I stand motionless, afraid to move. But the sound doesn't come again. I walk slowly, almost on tiptoe, to the door of the utility room. It's empty and dark inside. Mold on the walls, a damp smell. No one there. Maybe it was just a rat or the wind. Still, the feeling of being watched doesn't leave me. I act quickly, pull off the sheets covering a few old photographs and take them with me. Among them is a portrait of my father, his smile so warm that it makes my heart ache. I grab a few more family albums and head back out, locking the door behind me with the old lock, though it's broken. It won't stop anyone determined to get in, but I have no other choice. The bag is heavy with photographs, but my heart feels lighter. I've managed to save at least part of my memories. I head toward the road, flag down a taxi, and give the driver the address of my father's office. The car starts moving. I look out the window, catching fleeting glimpses of the city's familiar outlines. I never thought I'd be this afraid of familiar streets. The taxi stops in front of a tall glass and metal building, the main office of Taekwon Construction. Once, the facade gleamed, symbolizing the growing power of my father's company. Now I notice that the sign has blackened from rain and time, and there seem to be fewer employees. At least, the lobby is nearly empty. I pay the driver, take my bag, and head toward the entrance. The security guard at the checkpoint greets me and recognizes me, though I don't remember him. For some reason, he seems nervous, straightens his posture, and lets me through the turnstile. My footsteps echo in the spacious but now nearly deserted lobby. A few employees in formal suits glance at me with curiosity, whispering to one another. I feel like a stranger in a place that once felt like home. Everything here reminds me of my father: the walls, his office on the top floor, the meeting rooms where he held business negotiations. On the second floor is the reception area where my father's loyal secretary, Ms. Park, once worked. She passed away a few months ago from a stroke. I was told that after my father's death, she had been devastated, and her age had caught up with her. I struggled to hold back tears, realizing that yet another person close to me is gone. At the receptionist's desk now sits a young woman I don't recognize. She lifts her head when she sees me. "How can I help you?" she asks politely. I need to speak with Choi Mi-ho. Is he here? She looks at me suspiciously, probably trying to remember who I am. Then suddenly her face lights up with realization. "You're Kim So-yeon? Kim Taekwon's daughter?" "Yes, that's me," I answer, feeling a bitter pang because people only recognize me through my father's name. "He asked me to tell you if you showed up. Please wait just a moment." The girl quickly dials an internal phone number and speaks quietly for a moment. Then she points to the door at the end of the corridor. "He said you can come in." I walk slowly down the hallway, recalling how I used to run here as a child, hide behind the flower pots, and laugh when my father pretended to be angry. Now the footsteps echo hollowly, and my heart tightens with longing. I stop in front of the door with a plaque that reads Deputy Director and freeze. There used to be a different plaque here, President of Kim Taekwon Company. But after his death, the positions were reshuffled. Choi Mi-ho sits behind a massive desk covered with folders and documents. He looks just as I remember him, tall, slender, with sharp facial features. His hair is neatly styled now, and his suit fits impeccably. But the main detail in his appearance is his cold eyes. I noticed long ago there's something intimidating in his gaze. As a child, I thought Mi-ho was just always serious and couldn't smile sincerely. That opinion hasn't changed over the years. "So-yeon," he says in a quiet voice, and yet manages to smile, though his smile doesn't warm me. "I'm glad you came back." I manage not to show the tremor inside me. I came to find out the truth. About Father's death. For a moment, a shadow crosses Mi-ho's face, as if he knows how much pain this causes me. He nods and gestures for me to sit. "So-yeon, I understand how hard this is. But sometimes the truth can be dangerous." "I'm not afraid," I lie. "Because I am." To my fingertips. But if I don't do this now, I never will. Miho looks away toward the window. I notice him tense. Then he looks back at me, his eyes empty yet determined. All right. If you insist, I will help. But you must understand that there are people involved who won't stop at anything to keep their secrets. So be it, I say, already feeling my heart race faster. I won't back down. Miho leans over the desk and takes a thin folder from the drawer. Here is some information your father was trying to gather before he died. I don't know all the details, but I suspect these documents are linked to a series of illegal deals. One of them concerned construction in the port area. I listen carefully, trying to piece together the scheme he describes. Father's company planned to build a large residential complex but faced serious opposition. Some competing firm, backed by influential people, tried to sabotage the project at all costs. Father was ready to fight by legal means, but something went wrong. Why didn't you tell the police? I ask, flipping through the papers. Miho smiles sadly, because the police don't work for us. Or, let's say, they're not always on the side of justice. These people, they have connections and money. If I brought this to the police, I'd likely be accused of something myself. Or these papers would simply disappear. I realize he's right. In our country, as probably in many others, money can do a lot. But then why did Father believe everything could be solved honestly? Why didn't he use the same methods? Father was convinced that the truth would win. I say more to myself than to Miho. He was too naive. Or too principled, Miho replies, folding his hands on the desk. He had his reasons. But in the end, it led to tragedy. How he said tragedy, as if it were some distant, insignificant event. It hurts me. To me, it's not just a tragedy, but the death of a close person, my father. I cut him off sharply. Miho presses his lips together, lowering his eyes. I see he regrets his clumsy phrase but says nothing in response. Inside me, feelings struggle, anger, pain, resentment, and distrust. Yet strangely, at the same time, I feel he does care. His words lack sympathy, but there's a shadow in his eyes. Guilt? Sorrow? I can't tell yet. I will investigate this myself, I conclude. But since you offer help, I'll accept it. He nods, and at that moment, I notice the muscles in his neck tense. He seems to be bracing himself internally for something. I will do everything I can, he finally says. I stand up, getting ready to leave to visit some other places, but he stops me at the last moment. So-yeon, be careful. Trust no one. Words my father said a year ago. Now Miho repeats them. I feel a chill run down my spine. Silently, I leave the office. After leaving the office, I head to a small cafe around the corner. I used to come here often for a latte. Father never liked coffee, he preferred green tea, but sometimes bought me something sweet here and tolerated the smell of roasted beans just for me. I sit down at the table by the window and order a mochaccino. Thousands of thoughts run through my head about the documents Miho showed me, the warnings, the fact that I'm about to face the dark side of my father's business. But mentally, I return to childhood. I was 9 years old when Dad first took me to a construction site. I remember being scared of the heights, the cranes, the noisy machines, and the men's voices all around. But Dad held my hand. Don't look down, look up, he said. We're building the future, So-yeon. That phrase stuck in my memory. I tried to take everything in, believing that under Dad's protection nothing could harm me. When I looked at the blueprints he spread out on the tables, I didn't understand a single symbol, but I saw the inspiration in his eyes. That's when I decided I wanted to be like him, determined, brave, able to chase my dream. Years later, entering university, I realized I had good analytical skills, and Dad hoped I would one day continue the family business. He was proud of my achievements but never pressured me or pushed me in that direction. The main thing is that you're happy, he said. Maybe that's why I went into a different field. I wanted to find my own place and prove I could succeed on my own. And now, he's dead. And I don't know who's to blame or why. Only one thing is clear: dangerous people are involved, ready to do anything for money and power. The hot sip of mochaccino burns my throat, bringing me back to reality. My phone on the table flashes, a new message. With trembling hands, I pick it up and read, "You've gone too far, So-yeon. Stop before it's too late." The number is unknown, as expected. Fear mixed with adrenaline washes over me. So I'm already a target. And I've barely done anything, just glanced at some documents. But apparently, just my presence in town and the visit to Miho pushed someone to threaten me. Damn. I whisper, setting the cup down. My hands are shaking. I glance around. The cafe is almost empty. In the corner sit two teenagers absorbed in their smartphones by the counter. The barista and waitress chat. No one is looking at me. Still, I feel like I'm being watched. Some sixth sense whispers, "Stay alert." I close my eyes, trying to calm down. Then I block the number, finish my coffee even though it no longer tastes good. It's time to act, not hide. I spend the rest of the afternoon running around various archives, trying to find traces of my father's deals. But finding is easier said than done. The company is large, projects countless, and each could hide pitfalls. By evening, I realize I'm exhausted, emotionally, physically, morally. I decide to stop at the apartment I once rented during an internship in Ulsan. Luckily, I'm still in touch with the landlady, Mrs. Oh-yeon-hee, and she gladly rents it to me again for a short term. I'm glad I don't have to stay in a hotel. I prefer a private place where I can quietly continue my search. The apartment is on the 5th floor of a regular residential complex. I climb the stairs with a heavy heart. Everything around reminds me of past times when I had no serious problems and Dad was alive. Inside, silence greets me. White walls, minimal furniture, but at least it's clean. I set my bag down in the living room, open the window, letting in fresh air. I'll probably need to buy groceries and other essentials. But first, I want to clear my head. I put on soft music to avoid going crazy from monotony and anxiety. Sitting on the couch, I open the folder Miho gave me and start reading. It's a pile of contracts, blueprints, and charter documents. It's not easy to spot illegalities at first glance. Too many technical details, references to government regulations, legal articles. My head starts to buzz. I decide to take a break and, walking to the tiny bedroom, catch my reflection in the mirror, pale face, tired eyes, dull gaze. Suddenly, I feel sorry for myself to the point of tears. Did I ask for all this? I think. But alongside the pity, anger wakes up. Why should I give up? They killed my father and now want to scare me? No way. I kick off my shoes and go to the bathroom. The shower washes the fatigue from my body but not from my soul. The hot water relaxes my muscles, and for a few minutes, I close my eyes, imagining it's all a dream. As if Dad is still alive and I'll step out of the bathroom to find him sitting in the living room, watching TV and saying, "So-yeon, let's order dinner. And we'll laugh about some silly thing." But reality is relentless. After the shower, I step out and hear my phone vibrate again. The unknown number appears once more. The message is short: "I warned you. Stop." For the first time all day, I let the tears flow. Sitting on the floor, hugging a towel, I cry silently. I realize how alone I am here. No mother, no father, no close friends who can protect me. Am I really strong? But in this state, something else awakens: determination. I wipe my tears and dial the first name that comes to mind, my childhood friend Hyunju. She lives in Ulsan and might at least support me morally. "So-yeon?" She answers, surprised when I call. "Where are you? Are you in Korea?" "Yes." I just came back. Sorry I didn't write earlier. It's okay. Her voice brightens. How are you? We haven't talked in so long. Are you all right? You were worried about. I'm not okay, I admit honestly. I need your help, at least to talk. Of course. Let's meet tomorrow if you can. I'm free after lunch. Great, I say. Thank you, Hyunju. The next morning, I hurry to get ready. I put on a simple but elegant blouse and trousers, trying to hide dark circles under my eyes. I drink a cup of green tea, in honor of my father, but my soul is still restless. On the way to the small restaurant, I look over my shoulder at every step, imagining I'm being followed. It feels like someone is behind me, watching. I try to convince myself it's paranoia, but my heart races as if I'm in a chase. I enter the restaurant, it's just like before. Wooden tables, menu on the wall, soft yellow light. I immediately spot Hyunju. We used to play basketball together at school. She always seemed brave and lively to me. Over the years, nothing has changed in her spirit, still fearless and full of life. So-yeon. She gets up to meet me, smiling broadly. We hug, and I notice a mixture of sympathy and joy in her eyes. Hyunju. I barely manage to say, feeling tears welling up again. Shoo, it's okay, she whispers, stroking my back. Let's sit down, and you'll tell me everything. We order food. I choose tteokbokki and rice. She orders kimbap and soup. When the drinks arrive, Hyunju looks at me carefully and asks, So, you came back? Because of your father? I nod. My friend takes my hand in hers. I was so worried when I heard about his death. You left immediately without a word. Sorry. I just couldn't stay. Everything reminded me of him. I understand. But why come back now? I sigh and tell her everything I know, that the police version seems false to me, about the documents I found belonging to Dad, about meeting Choi Miho. I don't leave out the details about the threats I've started receiving. Hyunju listens, frowning, occasionally asking clarifying questions. So, you think your father was murdered? Almost certain. I see no other explanation. He was too careful to fall by accident. Besides, his gut feelings, those deals. I know it sounds paranoid, but I feel something's wrong. Hyunju nods, tapping her finger on the table. Okay, let's suppose that's true. What are you going to do? Do you have a plan? Any proof? I exhale, not yet. But Miho promised to help, though I don't trust him much. Maybe I should find people who knew about Dad's affairs. Or look into who he was dealing with lately. Sounds reasonable, my friend agrees. But be careful, especially if you're being threatened. I know, but I can't turn back now. We fall into silence. After a while, Hyunju hands me a business card. This is the contact of a journalist I know, Lee Ju-won. He sometimes does investigations. Try reaching out to him, maybe he can help. Just. She bites her lip, be cautious. You never know who he might share information with. Thanks, I say, taking the card. It's a small chance, but a chance nonetheless. That evening, Miho calls. He says he has new documents and that I should look at them with him. He suggests meeting at his place, claiming it will be safer than the office or public spots. I hesitate, but curiosity and the determination to learn the truth outweigh my doubts. We agree to meet at his apartment at 9 p.m. When I arrive at the address, I see a modern residential complex with security and cameras. Miho seems to live in a rather luxurious place. They let me in, and I take the elevator to the top floor. Miho opens the door himself. He's wearing a dark gray shirt with the top button undone and black trousers. I can't help but notice he looks impressive, tall, well-groomed, with sharp facial features. A certain unease stirs inside me. After all, I never thought of him as ugly or uninteresting. He just always kept a cold distance, so I never considered him as a man. Come in, he says, gesturing me inside. His apartment is spacious but minimally furnished. Light walls, almost no decor, everything strict and functional. We walk into the living room, where there's a large sofa and a coffee table piled with folders. Sorry for the mess, Miho says, noticing my glance. I've been living at work these last days, sorting through papers related to your father's affairs. No problem, I understand, I reply. We sit on the sofa. He hands me one of the folders. Look. These are the reports on tenders in which your father's company participated. There are strange numbers that can't be explained by simple overhead costs. And there's more. He unfolds a sheet, pointing to signatures and stamps. I don't understand legal terms, but notice the stamps belong to a company Dad never mentioned. Is this a shell company? I suggest. Maybe, Miho replies. Money from big contracts went through it, and it seems part of the funds was used for bribes or other purposes not directly shown in Taekwon Construction's accounting. So, someone on the board of directors could be involved in these schemes? Or someone higher? Miho falls silent, and I see he doesn't want, or can't, reveal details. Anger boils inside me. These people used my father's honest name to run criminal schemes. And when he realized what was happening and tried to stop them, they got rid of him. Everything is starting to fit into a logical picture. Damn it. I whisper, leaning back against the sofa. That means Dad died because of their dirty money. Miho lowers his head, his expression softening. So-yeon, I know how hard this is for you. And believe me, I'm doing everything I can to find the evidence and bring those responsible to justice. But it's not easy. I just want justice, I whisper. I want the people who killed my father to pay for it. Miho suddenly, slowly, reaches out and places his hand over mine. His touch is warm, calming. I flinch, but don't pull away. I'll do everything I can to help you, he says quietly. Trust me. At some point, I realize how close we're sitting. Our eyes meet. I see not his usual cold detachment, but pain, anger, and care. For me? I'm thrown off. My hands are trembling slightly. So much has happened in the past year, and now my heart is racing from just sitting next to this man, someone I've known so long, yet who remains a mystery. Thank you, I say softly. We don't look away from each other. Miho leans in slightly, as if unsure. I instinctively move a little toward him. Just a few centimeters, but enough for a spark to leap between us, one I never knew existed. He leans in slowly. I feel his breath. My heart is pounding in my throat. My mind is screaming, what am I doing? But my body moves on its own. Miho's lips touch mine, soft and tentative. A spark ignites. For a moment, I'm frozen, stunned. But then the feeling pulls me in, and I respond to his kiss, closing my eyes. Inside, everything flips upside down, grief, mistrust, fear, and suddenly, a strange relief of being seen, understood. But then the thought of my father pierces through the haze, how and why Miho and I are here, like this. I pull away. My breathing is shaky, my cheeks burning. I'm sorry. I whisper, not sure what I'm apologizing for. Miho looks embarrassed. He runs a hand through his hair and looks away. No, I'm the one who should apologize. Maybe this wasn't the right time. We both smile nervously, trying to ease the tension. In the background, I see the pile of papers about my father's death. My brain screams at me to focus, to not get distracted by feelings. But my heart insists this warmth is what I need, like air. The next few days pass in a frenzy of work. I meet with Lee Ju-won, the journalist Hyunju recommended. He's cautious, asks a ton of questions, trying to piece together what my father got involved in. We both understand we're taking a risk, but Ju-won decides to dig deeper. I help him organize the documents Miho provided. All this time, Miho and I only talk by phone or text. Since that kiss, we haven't discussed our feelings, as if we silently agreed to set that aside. But with each message from him, I find myself waiting for the next with a racing heart. Meanwhile, the threats haven't stopped. Several emails came in, all with the same message in different wording, *stop digging, or you'll regret it. I blocked the senders, but it's clear they can reach me anywhere. I try to live while looking over my shoulder, but the thought of being hurt at any moment is maddening. One evening, I come home with some groceries and notice the door is slightly open. My heart drops. Panic takes over as I pull out my phone to call the police, but when I step inside, I see a familiar figure, Miho. Miho? I exclaim, anger rising. What are you doing here? How did you get in? He turns to me, confusion in his eyes, his brows furrowed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I came to check on you and saw the lock was damaged. The door was wide open. I look around, the room is a mess, as if someone was searching for something. My chest tightens in fear. Someone broke in again. God. I clutch my head. What do we do? Miho gently places his hands on my shoulders, trying to calm me. First, we need to see if anything's missing. If they took important papers, it could be bad. Frantically, I start looking for the folder of documents from my father, the one I now always carry in my bag since the last break-in. Luckily, only copies and notes were left in the apartment. They're scattered across the floor, some crumpled. It looks like nothing critical was taken, I say with relief, but panic still gnaws at me. What if they get to the originals next time? We call the police, but honestly, we don't expect much. The officers make a formal report and leave. Then it's just Miho and me, sitting amid the chaos. He says, maybe you should move in with me for a while. I raise my eyebrows. Are you serious? There's security, cameras. And I'll be there. I can protect you. A storm of conflicting emotions rises inside me. I'm terrified to stay here alone after what happened. But moving in with Miho is a big step, a new level of closeness, and I still don't fully trust him. Yet, there's a warmth in me, a sense that maybe I just want someone to lean on. I'll think about it, I finally say. Miho doesn't push. He just nods quietly. Then we clean up a bit together, sweeping up the broken things. But one question spins in my mind, who's doing this? And why now, just when we're getting close to the truth? The next day, I meet Ju-won at the local newspaper office. He shows me a printout of a phone conversation, obtained through some hacker contacts. I scan the text, and freeze. It's about a large sum transferred to that shell company by someone named Kang. My father's name is mentioned, as someone they need to take care of. This could be the key evidence, Ju-won whispers, trembling with excitement. If we can verify the files and identify who Kang is. Kang? Could it be Kang Byung-cheol? I suddenly recall one of my father's business partners who recently joined the board. My father never trusted him but never said why. Most likely, Ju-won nods. He's powerful, with ties to City Hall and lawmakers. If he's involved, it explains why this has been so difficult. I realize we've crossed a dangerous line. Kang Byung-cheol is not someone to mess with. There are rumors he's backed by even more dangerous people, possibly criminal. If he's behind my father's murder, then we've stepped into his domain. And it seems he already knows I'm getting close. What do we do now? Ju-won asks. I clutch my head, torn between my fear and the fire for justice. After a long silence, I look up. We keep going. We'll gather the proof and get it into the right hands. I'm not backing down. I know now, there's no turning back. If I stop, they'll think they've won. And I'll never know the truth. I have to see this through, no matter how terrifying it gets. That evening, I'm scared to go back to my apartment. I stand by the door, hesitating, phone in hand. I reread the threat messages, remember the ransacked room, the broken lock. I remember Miho's words, his offer. He was right, it's safer at his place. And even if I don't know all his secrets, I doubt he wants me harmed. I dial his number. Miho? Hey. I've made a decision. If your offer still stands, I'll move in. He replies immediately, asterisk, of course. I'll be waiting for you. Bring your things. After hanging up, I sigh in relief and instantly feel a strange nervousness. What am I doing? I hardly trust him, but my heart says he won't hurt me. It's as if something about him tells me he's on my side. I pack my things, luckily, there aren't many. I lock copies of important documents in a small suitcase with a code lock. In about an hour, I'm ready, leave the apartment, and head to Miho's address. Taking one last look at my temporary home, I realize I feel both relieved and afraid of change. Miho meets me at the entrance with a slight smile. He seems embarrassed by the situation, though trying to hide it. He takes my suitcase and leads me inside. Here, he points to the guest room. You can settle in here. Thank you. I didn't mean to impose. You're not imposing, he says seriously. On the contrary, I'm glad you're here. Now I'll know you're safe. His words touch me. I nod, feeling a warmth spread through my chest. Miho suggests ordering food since he admits he can't cook. We settle on Korean takeout. During dinner, there's an awkward silence. We both have things to say, but neither of us knows how to start. Sensing this, Miho gently touches my hand. So-yeon, I know this might not be the best time to talk about feelings, but... I look at his profile, the sharp line of his cheekbones, a shadow of worry in his eyes. A wave of tenderness and uncertainty washes over me. Go on, I say softly. He pauses, carefully choosing his words. I've liked you for a long time. Even back when I worked for your father. You were like a forbidden fruit to me, my boss's daughter, and you didn't even seem to notice me. And when everything happened with your father, He falls silent, clenching his fists. I cover his hand with mine, feeling his pulse race. Miho, I understand, I whisper. I'm confused too. I used to see you just as someone my father trusted, his right-hand man. But now backslash. I avert my eyes from his. I feel like something is happening between us. But I'm scared to trust. I'm sorry. He gently squeezes my hand. I don't blame you. It's hard to trust anyone in a situation like this. I exhale. His nearness, his voice, his scent, it all overwhelms my rational thoughts. The light is dim in the apartment, and the darkness outside only intensifies the mood. Maybe it's this atmosphere that makes us speak the truths we've kept silent. After we finish eating, I start cleaning the dishes. Miho comes up behind me and wraps his arms around my waist. My heart pounds. His touch is warm, gentle, yet full of emotion. I realize I need this, the feeling that I'm not alone, that someone is here to share my pain. I turn to face him and look into his eyes. He leans in, and we kiss again, deeper, more insistently. A whirlwind of emotion surges through me, passion, pain, fear, and hope. Miho's fingers tangle in my hair as I press against him, feeling the thump of his heartbeat. So-yeon. He whispers, and in that word, I hear both desire and care. The room feels too small for everything we're feeling. He leads me to his bedroom, and I don't resist. Suddenly, everything happens fast and naturally. From him, there's a tender hesitance mixed with growing desire. My body feels like it's on fire. I give in to the moment, closing my eyes, forgetting the fear, the conspiracies, the danger. Everything is here, in our kisses and touches. We don't speak grand words, we don't make declarations of love. We simply get closer, letting our bodies express what's been locked inside. His hands explore my curves, my fingers trace his skin. I hear his uneven breathing in my ear, and inside, everything screams to forget the horrors of the past few days. At some point, I catch his gaze. I see the same thing I feel, a hunger for closeness and a fear of loss. I reach for him, feeling his lips on my neck, a shiver running through my body. We move in a rhythm guided by pure desire. When it's over, we lie next to each other, breathless and close. My fingers absent-mindedly draw circles on his chest. I feel peace in my chest, tinged with a hint of sorrow. This moment is beautiful, but shadowed by the situation. As if sensing my mood, Miho whispers, "I'll protect you, even if it costs me my life. I promised your father." His words pierce my heart. I suddenly remember my father's last words, asterisk if something happens, trust no one. Asterisk but Miho is here, now. If not him, then who? In the morning, I wake up before Miho. I move quietly, slipping out of bed to wash up and collect my thoughts. In the mirror, I see my reflection, messy hair, slightly swollen lips, faint traces of his kisses on my neck. I blush, remembering the night. On one hand, I feel grateful for the closeness, on the other, more anxious than ever. I get dressed and go to the living room to check my phone. I see a missed call from Hyunju. I call her back. So-yeon. Where were you? I couldn't reach you all night. Sorry. I had things to deal with. Are you okay? She sounds tense. I got some strange information about Miho. My heart skips a beat. What kind of information? A friend of mine heard that Miho used to work not only for your father, but also for someone named Kan Byung-chul, the one you suspect. Supposedly, he passed some information to him. I sit down on the couch, feeling everything tighten inside me. Could it be true? Are you sure? I'm not, honestly, Hyunju admits. But the source is reliable. I'm just worried about you. You never know .. I understand, I whisper. Thank you for warning me. I set down the phone, my head spinning. Miho walks out of the bedroom already dressed, with a slightly tense look on his face. He looks at me, something wrong? I hesitate. I want to run to him, to say I believe him. But my friend's words echo in my mind. I decide to ask him directly, Miho, did you ever work for Kan Byung-chul? He turns pale. His fingers briefly clench into fists. Then, slowly, he replies, I did. But that was before I started working for your father. A sharp pang hits my chest. So it wasn't just a rumor. I try to stay calm. Why didn't you tell me? Because it was long ago. I left him when I realized what he was involved in. I didn't want to be part of anything criminal. After that, your father offered me a position in his company. He knew where I came from, and... My father knew? I repeat, shocked. Why did he trust you? I gave him some of Kan's documents to prove I was on the side of honest business. He saw not just a former employee in me, but someone who could help expose corruption. I realize Miho has carried this secret for years. But what if he's still in contact with Kan? What if Kan pulled him back in? All my fears crash down on me with terrifying force. So-yeon, he steps toward me, trying to take my hand, but I pull away. Why did you hide this from me? How can I be sure now that you're really not working for him? A flicker of pain crosses Miho's face. If I wanted to keep it from you, would I have told you now? I left him. I love you. I freeze at those words. Love? I don't know what to say, because inside me there's a storm, loyalty, fear, memories of the night we spent together. I need time, I say quietly. I can't just believe everything you're saying right now. Miho presses his lips together and sighs. I understand. But I'll prove my loyalty with actions. I'll help you uncover the truth about your father's death. no matter what it takes. We stand in tense silence. I want to fall into his arms and believe he's on my side, but the image keeps flashing in my mind, my father at the bottom of the river, and behind it all, the man Miho once served. Several tense days pass. I settle in the guest room at Miho's place, but there's a wall of distrust between us. We talk only about the case, gathering documents, analyzing data. Ju-won continues searching for evidence against Kang Byung-chul, but the fear of being followed never leaves us. Each evening, Miho and I return to his apartment. He tries to be caring, cooking dinner or ordering takeout, suggesting a movie. But I keep my distance, saying I'm tired. It's hard to fight the inner pain caused by his secrecy, even though I understand he may have had legitimate reasons for not telling me. One night, I wake to noises in the living room. My heart races. Another break-in. I quietly step out and see Miho on the phone. He's holding the phone to his ear and hissing in a low voice, "No, I'm not coming back. Do you understand?" "Yes, I know. But..." He notices me and quickly ends the call. A chill spreads through my chest. "Who were you talking to?" I ask, fists clenched. He chooses his words carefully. "It was Kang's people. They're pressuring me again. They want me to stop helping you. They think I owe them." "And what did you tell them?" "That I'll never go back," Miho says, looking at me with pain. "So-yeon, please understand, I cut ties with them, but they won't let go that easily." I turn away, pressing my lips together to stop myself from crying. "Fine. But why should I believe you're not secretly working with them?" He exhales heavily and gently places his hands on my shoulders. "Because I won't betray the promise I made to your father. And I won't betray you." At the mention of my father, I flinch. And yet, there's something in Miho that makes me want to believe him. Maybe I just need to believe. Trying to clear my head, I meet Hyunju at a cafe. I tell her I'm living with Miho, but unsure if I should continue the relationship. She listens, thoughtfully stirring her tea. "So-yeon, do you have feelings for him?" "Yes," I admit bitterly. "And at the same time, I can't get rid of the fear. Give him a chance to prove he's not the enemy. But stay alert. You must understand, there's no black and white in the world of big money." It makes sense, but I still feel jealous of his past with Kang. My mind conjures up images, Miho standing with my father just days before his death, their glances, secret talks. Was it all decided even back then? That same evening, as I return to Miho's apartment, I see a young woman at the entrance talking to the concierge. As I walk past, she gives me a long, hostile look. "Are you here for Choi Miho?" The concierge asks, seeing me head toward the elevator. "Yes. We live together," I reply automatically. The woman tightens her lips. "Oh, I see." She turns and walks away without saying goodbye. My heart pounds as I go up. Miho meets me at the door, looking uneasy. "There was a strange woman downstairs," I say as soon as I walk in. "Probably Na Yurim," he runs a hand through his hair. "She used to work for Kang. She's trying to convince me to come back." "What is this?" I exclaim, frustrated. "Why does everyone expect you to return to Kang Byung-chul?" Miho looks exhausted. "Because I was important. I knew too many secrets. They either want me back or destroyed." The word destroyed makes me shudder. I suddenly realize he's in danger too. Maybe that's why he wants us to work together, not just because I need protection, but because he does too. The next day, Lee Ju-won urgently calls me to his office. When I arrive, I see he's agitated. "So-yeon, I have news." Actually, I have an audio recording of a conversation between Kang Byung-chul and another person. An anonymous source sent it to me. Listen. He plays the recording. Faint voices, static noise. But I catch, she's getting too close. Shut it down before it's too late. Got it. We already sent people to check her apartment yesterday. Handle it quickly. No noise. My blood runs cold. Khan literally ordered my death. Rage floods me. Ju-won. This is what we were missing. Direct proof of Kang's involvement in my father's death. Yes, the journalist nods. But we need to verify the authenticity of the tape. Carefully. If we just publish it, he could sue us, or worse. I understand we're walking a razor's edge. But I'm burning inside with the need for justice, no matter the cost. All right, I try to stay calm. Follow your journalistic process. I'm ready to help. We agree to proceed with caution, encrypting files, backing up data. Ju-won advises me to go somewhere safe while he prepares the report. But I refuse. I won't leave Miho alone in this. It seems Kang senses the threat. The next day, I get a call from an unknown number. A man's voice, Kim So-yeon? This is Kang Byung-chul. We need to meet. If you care about your life and the life of the one beside you, don't refuse. I go cold. Kang has reached out directly. Taking a deep breath, I respond, when and where. He names an abandoned construction site in the industrial district, late evening. Going there alone is madness. But refusing might provoke him into something worse. I tell Miho about the call, and he's visibly shaken. You're not going alone. But if I bring you, it might be a trap too. In the end, we agree, Miho will stay nearby with Ju-won and a couple of trusted allies the journalist has involved in the investigation. I'll try to get Kang to confess. My phone has a built-in recorder. When evening comes, I take a taxi to the meeting place, my heart pounding in my throat. An industrial zone, gray walls, rusty fences, darkness all around. I park the car and get out. Ken is already there, tall, sharp-featured, wearing an expensive suit, but still looking like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Two thugs stand next to him. Kim So-yeon, Ken says as he steps closer. You're sticking your nose too deep into matters that don't concern you. They concern my father, the one you killed, I reply coldly. I didn't kill him personally, Ken smirks. But he was in the way. He wanted to make noise, expose our projects. And so. He was silenced. My hands are trembling, but I try to stay strong. Why did you ask to meet? I don't want problems. I want to offer you a deal. You leave the country, forget your little investigation, and I'll pay you as much as you want. He pulls a checkbook out of his pocket, or at least pretends to. Disgust boils up inside me. You seriously think I'd sell my father's memory for your money? In this world, everything has a price, Ken snaps. Your boyfriend Miho used to work for me. And he was pretty good at it. That was in the past, I shoot back. Ken laughs. Really? Are you so sure he isn't still feeding me information? The words hit like a knife, touching the raw wound of doubt. But I hold firm. I know he's on my side. We'll see. If you reject my offer, I won't spare you, or him. Understood? I pretend to hesitate, though my phone's recorder has already captured enough. But Ken notices something on my phone. He signals to a guard, who snatches it from me. Ken glances at the screen, the recorder is running. His face twists in fury. You treacherous little rat. You were setting me up? He signals the other guard. They grab me roughly, twisting my arms behind my back. Pain shoots through my shoulders, I cry out. In that instant, Miho and Ju-won emerge from the shadows. Chaos erupts, shouting, scuffling. One guard lunges at Miho, but he manages to fend him off and knocks the weapon from his hand. Ken tries to escape, but Ju-won blocks his path. Miho catches him and lands a punch to the face. Ken collapses to the ground, blood dripping from his lip, glaring at us with hate. You'll regret this. Suddenly, police sirens wail in the distance. Ju-won's people had called the cops in time. I finally break free from the guard's grip. Kan's thugs resist, but the police quickly restrain them. Kan snarls like a caged animal as the handcuffs snap around his wrists. I stand there, shaken, breathless. Miho runs to me, placing an arm around my shoulders. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" "I don't think so." I tremble in shock, realizing we've almost taken down the man behind it all. Ju-won approaches, smiling with relief. "That was damn dangerous, but I think we did it. And we got the recording." After Kan and his men are arrested, we give statements to the police. It turns out the authorities already had some intel on Kan, but lacked hard evidence. Now, with our testimony and the recording, the case may go to court. Still, Kan has powerful connections. The process promises to be long and difficult. That same evening, I return to Miho's apartment. My soul is both rejoicing and grieving. It seems the worst is over, but what if Kan's associates remain at large? Will the justice system truly bring this to an end? I would collapse into bed if not for one more conversation. Miho walks in and sits beside me. "So-yeon, listen. Now that Kan is in custody, I think you're safer." "I know, but I've decided to leave your father's company. I need to start over." Tears rise in my eyes. "Are you leaving the city?" He lowers his gaze. "Maybe for a while. Most likely going abroad, at least until all this blows over. I need a break. I'm tired of the drama, of the constant fear." My heart clenches, because I realize he might be leaving my life. But my feelings for him are stronger than ever. What about us? I finally ask the question that's been eating me alive. Miho takes my hand. "I won't disappear, not unless you want me to. But maybe it's best if you get some peace too." Tears stream down my cheeks. I'm scared of being alone again. Of being without you. He holds me close. "I don't want to make you choose. I just want you to be happy." We remain in each other's arms. But in my mind, a thought begins to form. Maybe I need to leave too. To shut the door on the past and start fresh, keeping my father's memory, but no longer surrounded by reminders of his death. And yet, I'm not sure if I want to go with Miho. Doubts still linger, even though I saw him risk everything to help me. The trial against him moves forward slowly. Police uncover new evidence, but Kan's lawyers fight hard to protect him. I become a key witness and am regularly called in for questioning. Over the months, Miho and I drift apart. I pulled away, perhaps because after the success of Kan's arrest, all the pain of Miho's past secrecy came back to haunt me. He, too, began disappearing more often, handling matters related to leaving the company and selling off assets. One day, he tells me he's leaving for Singapore. I have contacts there, a job offer. "I hope we'll meet again," he adds quietly, looking into my eyes. But I'm too proud, or too hurt, to say I don't want him to go. We exchange tense goodbyes. I feel that same sharp emptiness I felt after my father's death. Days pass, then weeks. I live alone, growing used to solitude. Sometimes I catch myself missing Miho, his touch, the nights we shared. But pride and pain keep me from calling. Time passes, and Kan's trial drags on. I'm exhausted, mentally and physically. I start thinking again about going abroad, just like I did after my father's death. Maybe far away from where the worst memories live, I'll find peace. But the night before I might leave, I go through my father's photos again. Tears come on their own. I realize there's no point in running. Everything that happened is now part of me. I have to learn to live with it, and move forward. And suddenly, I understand what's missing: one person. Yes, I'm still angry with him. But I realize that Miho was the only one who truly understood my pain. I miss him terribly. With determination, I grab my phone and message Miho for the first time in months, *Hey. How are you? Can we talk? My heart pounds like I'm about to take the most important exam of my life. A few minutes later, I get a reply, of course. I'd be happy. When can you? We arranged to meet in Seoul. It turns out Miho also came to Korea for a while to give testimony in a new hearing in Kan's case. I arrive in the capital and book a hotel room. I'm nervous, like it's my very first date. Miho is waiting for me in the lobby. When I see him, my heart skips a beat. He looks a bit thinner, his facial features sharper, but his eyes hold the same warm feeling. So-yeon. He whispers as he approaches. We hug awkwardly, and I feel a storm of emotions return. We go up to my room and sit on the couch. A silence falls. Then I exhale. I missed you. Sorry for being so stubborn. He looks at me sadly and gently. I missed you too. I understand why you were angry. But I'm glad you wrote. We talk for a long time. I tell him about the trial, my fears, and how I can't forget his involvement in Kan's affairs. Miho explains that back then he saw no other way. He needed to escape poverty, make money, only later did he realize what he'd gotten into. Joining my father's company was his salvation, a way to make amends and start living honestly. He knew I was connected to Kan, but he trusted me. And I couldn't betray him. I couldn't let the same thing happen to you as happened to him, Miho says, his voice trembling. I realize this man, like me, has carried a lot of pain and guilt. And now I don't want to lose him over a past that can't be changed. Miho. I whisper, moving closer to him. He answers with a kiss. This time, there's no wild passion like our first night, but there is a depth of feeling built up over months of separation. We reach for each other, like two souls finding comfort in a maze of pain. We're in each other's arms again. This time, when his hands trace my body, I feel no fear or doubt, only tenderness and unity. Our kisses grow more heated. I press against him, feeling him hold me back with gentle strength. We both know where this is headed and don't resist. Months pass. The trial against Kan and his associates drags on, but in the end, they receive real sentences for corruption, extortion, and organizing murder. Under plea deals, some former accomplices testify against him, strengthening the case. I attend the final hearing and hear the verdict. I feel bitter joy. My father won't return, but his killers got what they deserved. Miho officially leaves Taekwon Construction, leaving his shares to the board of directors, who begin a full restructuring to cleanse the company's name. I don't want to work there either. I prefer to start my own business. Using my father's inheritance, I decide to open a small charity for families who lost their breadwinners in construction accidents. It's my tribute to my father, who truly cared for people. Miho travels between Korea and Singapore, consulting on business security. But we decided not to be apart for long. I fly to see him from time to time, and he comes to me. When we're together, there's peace in our hearts. We've survived fear, pain, suspicion, and it seems to have made our bond even stronger. Sometimes, waking up next to him, I remember my father. I close my eyes and imagine him smiling at me somewhere in heaven, seeing that I haven't broken, that I've found happiness and a new purpose in life. I know we've come a long way from suspicion and pain to trust and love. The truth was darker than I could have imagined. My father's death was the cold calculation of greedy men. But by exposing them, I freed myself from the ghosts of the past. Now, looking at the dark waters, I'm not afraid. I see in them not only pain but also the strength that helped me endure. My father is gone, but I feel his presence in every determined step I take. And beside me stands the man I love, and who loves me, despite all our mistakes and trials. We hold each other, and it feels as if the water carries away sorrow, leaving us a bright future. The dark waters became part of my story, but no longer define my fate. I move forward with my head held high, holding the hand of the man I'm willing to risk everything for once again.